Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, deathslays, search, peasants, vassals, minions, meek, sacks, fake newsers. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And let's go to the USA because another list of supposed fake news sites came out, this time in the Washington Post, posted by Craig Timber. But the authors of the list itself are anonymous. How convenient. But here we go again, an incredible list of over 200 plus sites, and includes most of the notable alternative media out there and some really surprising inclusions. So this kind of makes up for the last list that didn't include some of the sites that we know they're also looking at. But this new list makes it clear. I mean, it's a lot of economics and naked capitalism being a notable example. They certainly have some editorial bent to it, but to label it as fake news, specifically when all the articles are posted elsewhere, particularly a long list of links that are from actual mainstream news. So odd there. But then we have Zero Hedge, Paul Craig Roberts, and David Stockman, which is surprising. And these are people that used to serve in the government and are speaking with a certain amount of experience and not really sure how they can be fake news. And once again, how can all this stuff about painting a realistic economic picture be considered fake news? But RT, South Front, Economic Collapse, Daily Sheeple, Truth Out, We Are Change, Lou Rockwell, all these sites, most of my viewers and anybody that does any amount of research out there familiar with all these sites: InfoWars, Global Research, Counterpunch, Anti-War, Corbett Report, AMTV Media, and the Ron Paul Institute. So once again, Ron Paul gets labeled as some kind of radical fake news, whatever. I get so tired of this, but this list is very telling because anybody that has any kind of alternative view whatsoever from the mainstream narrative gets put on this list. And some are more extreme than others. Of course, I'm happy to see AMTV, C. Green on there because even though he delivers a lot of interesting facts and figures and is basically on point, I would definitely consider him fake news just because he's just so preposterous. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, now we have a concerted attack on all the alternative media being labeled as fake news, and this. Once again, once you put this out there, a lot of people, or the damage is already going to be done. A lot of people who haven't turned to these sources may be a little more reluctant now, but certainly it will consolidate everyone who's already watching these and knows what they are about. And the mainstream media, of course, is threatened completely by all these different alternative sites. So we'll have this animosity continue, particularly as pointed out in other stories. You can these stories that all these sites can post that cannot be posted on mainstream media for no other reason. They can't offend all their corporate sponsors who are also perpetrating a lot of the activity and criminal activity and fraud that a lot of these sites cover. So very interesting. And then last but not least, of course, to make it clear in this article, they talk about, quote, the formal investigations by the U.S. government, quote, because they, quote, strongly suspect individuals violated the Espionage Act, the Foreign Agent Registration Act, and other related news. So now they're trying to use old tactics and old laws against media, and now labeling journalists and anybody that spreads a different narrative as agent provocateurs, as terrorists, and fake news. And of course, the bottom line is ultimately, you can imagine my disappointment that after all my years of effort, I'm not listed. I'm not put on this list. Very disappointing, but something to be nervous about. We're seeing concerted effort, particularly after the status quo took a beating in this last election. They're going to go after these alternative news outlets because they are certainly realizing the full power. They've been noting it for years, but now they've really tasted it, and we are now on the watch list. And hopefully me too. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.